Hey guys, figured to do a little bit of a talk about sections and view templates. On these projects, as they get bigger and bigger, more and more people are synced to Central and more people are running in a work share, a number of these section views start appearing in a project, and some of them really aren't all that necessary. They're really easy to draw with, they're really easy to place, but they're also really easy to manipulate and move and adjust to work for your situation instead of creating new ones all of the time and moving on and leaving a bunch of them in a project. So I want to demonstrate some of that and then show how to use the view templates a little bit easier to use them, to apply them for leverage for speeding up your project. Alright, so first off, you notice I got a bathroom cut section here, right here, and this is my section view of it up here. These are live and they are dynamic. When you modify one of these, like for instance, I want to flip this view around now and look out of the doorway. When you have the selection view selected, you'll see there's a little flip arrow. These things move around, they're not always by the arrowhead. You'll have to look for them, but they are definitely there. If I click this guy, you see that now we're immediately looking at the back side of the door and the opposite side of the view. You can pick one of these guys and you can rotate them. Mind you, this is all the same section view. I'm not creating a new one, I'm just modifying the one that's here. Now we're looking at the casework. Oh, I want to look at the other side now and do some work over there. You can just flip it and turn it around. To avoid people from stepping on your section views and other people in your work share accidentally opening one because it just happened to be there next to the area they were going to work, one of the things we've seen is we need to start applying our names to these. When you have the selection view highlighted on your properties palette, there's a view name. Just give it a name, and then you'll see it'll show up in your project browser as well. It makes it easier for everybody involved, and plus, if it's a section that's really important, you're going to have a name for it now. Another thing to note is these section heads. See how there's a dash, 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 dash? That means that this view section is not applied to a sheet anywhere. So it doesn't display anywhere outside of Revit. Typically these are going to be your modeling views. They're not necessary. Keep one or two on your floor plan, or three if you got one looking north, one looking west, maybe one at some weird angle, but you can move them, you can adjust them, you can rotate them, you can flip them, and if they're not showing up on a drawing somewhere, get rid of them. You're leaving artifacts behind in the drawing that they're actually hindering people rather than helping them. Now, the next part of this I wanted to look at are how to apply a view template, because they're extremely powerful and they will reduce a huge amount of time in trying to manipulate and create these views. You'll see here I've set up a little section view that has my scale set, my color, my shading, lots of stuff. And if we go look at the view template information, you notice everything in here comes in blank. First time around, you can't create anything. It's because you have to actually have something selected. In this method that I'm going to work with, I want to turn on all of the views, and then I want to select Parker Looking North. It's the name of my view, it's also the name of the section. Now the way these checkboxes work is they lock the field associated to the item next to it. So view scale, for instance, with this being locked, and if I go to apply this, I'm actually going to duplicate it because I want to recall this later on in the future. Give it a name that's easy to remember. Feel free to include your own name because they're your settings. But one of the things I wanted to show in here, so we just saved those settings, and I've got another view over here looking south of a different laboratory area, and I want this view to look like that view. Well, what the heck? If I go back into my view template now, the one that we have saved here, wait a minute, something isn't. I didn't have the view activated, I was still in the old viewport. So I'm going to go over to my new viewport, go to my view template, and there's the view that I just saved. Now watch what happens here. Pay attention to the drawing scale, the coarseness, and the shade mode settings. These are all locked by my new template for my view. When I hit OK, magic. Now say that's fun and games, but I want something like, oh, my scale to be unlocked, or your coarse versus fine. Go back to your view template settings and simply uncheck the include box for that appropriate parameter. Now I can have all of my same view scales and have two different drawing scales, even though the same template is being applied to both views. Pretty fancy. Other things you can do in here is configure all of your VG overrides. You can include filters, and now if I had links in this sample project, it would also be able to include the visibility graphics of all of the links. So you can see how setting one of these views up the first time around, coming into the view templates, creating a version of your view, creating a new version of that, and then modifying the parameters for it. You can quickly come into any section view now at this point and recall all of your same settings. Make all of your views look just like the previous views. You just saw that that took me 2 seconds to reconfigure a view versus the time it takes to go through all of this each and every time that you create a section view. So, as a recap, name your sections, delete the sections you're not using, and leverage view templates to the absolute best of your ability. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.